Hey guys, good evening everyone. Welcome.
Walang curfew at usapang hindi nalalockdown. Hi, Jules!
What's up? It's another Friday under quarantine. So, lagpas 100 days na tayo, syempre dito sa quarantine. And of course, the reason kung bakit natin ginawa tong QuaranTalk ay para magkaroon tayo ng platform na pag-usapan yung iba't ibang mga may init na issue na umiikot sa quarantine.
Yes, kaya this episode, Jules, because it's Partner Friday, we partnered with an organization that's tackling one of the hottest topics these days. Pero I don't wanna call it hottest topic. Pero alam mo yun, isa ito sa mga naging trending topic on social media
Right?
mga
Mm-hmm.
nakaraang araw. Jules,
'Di ba
we
nakakainis na ang focus dapat natin COVID pero unfortunately ito nga hindi siya hottest kasi for the longest time yung issue ng sexual harassment nandiyan lagi. Na-highlight lang siya dahil maraming revelation sa social media. Pero later on, we have we are in collaboration with an organization that advocates against sexual harassment.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And before we go there, let's give our viewers updates on the COVID-19 situation. Ano ang latest information natin from the Department of Health?
Right. So for today, this week nga, lumagpas na tayo sa 30,000. So, for today itself, nasa 34,073 cases na tayo. Ang total deaths natin nasa 1,224. At ang total recoveries natin, umaangat naman siya almost 10,000 na. Nasa 9,182 na tayo today.
Mm-mm. For the data recorded or reported today, we have 1,006 new confirmed cases and 12 deaths were added and 274 more patients have recovered. Ang nakapag-alala dito, sa new confirmed cases na to, 700 plus pa rin yung fresh cases, meaning bago talaga to, hindi na to yung mga backlog pa. Also, globally, we have over 9.5 million cases, 488,824 deaths, and yun, but siguro, and 4.8 million have recovered, so almost 50% pa rin naman.
Right.
Jules?
Yes, in relation to COVID-19, ang government natin, ang one of their concrete actions before was to create a law, and ito yung bayanihan to heal as one app. But it lapsed already 2 days ago, June 24, and walang resolution na na-file to extend it. So, ngayon, nakasalalay tayo sa mga iba't ibang programs ng DOH and of course ng LGUs para sumalo pa rin dito sa response mismo sa COVID-19.
Right. So, abangan din natin early next week bilang matatapos na ulit yung 15-day period. The palace is set to release their new announcements on the quarantine protocols. So, abangan natin yan. Jules, another news that we heard over the past couple of days, something that has to do with a palace cameraman. Anong detail?
Right. Yes. So, ito nga ay lumabas actually 2 days ago, and this article is from ABS-CBN as you can see it. So, merong isang cameraman from the palace kasi merong media na assigned talaga sa palace. Ay, ito yung PBS, RTVM, yung Radio TV, TV Malacanang. So, may isang cameraman doon, and this was years ago pa actually. So, supposedly joke lang siya na kiniliti niya ang tuhod ng isang female coworker. This was 7 years ago. Okay? At ang naging resolution, naging ruling ng Supreme Court ay guilty in form of harassment. Okay? Which ang naging hatol sa kanya ay dismissal from government service. Actually, itong ruling na to, Eya, was dated February 25 pa, pero na-release lang last Monday. So ito nga po ay matatanggal na mula sa government service si cameraman dahil before pala ay nasuspend na rin siya ng PBS, RTVM at ng Civil Service Commission dahil nagkaroon na rin siya ng isang altercation with another office mate at hindi natuto si kuya ng sexual harass pa siya ng isang babae. mula sa isang worker din mula sa Palace. At nung nag-reaction nga nitong complainant, she was shocked and felt humiliated and she rushed immediately to the toilet to cry. So yun yung naging impact sa kanya nung pangingiliti sa tuhod nitong cameraman.
And basahin lang din natin, part of the decision penned by Associate Justice Inting, as stated in this article also, it says, unsolicited physical contact, even if done in jest, has no place in the workplace, especially in the government service. Even done in jest.
Actually, kahit saan naman kahit saang sector, di ba? Ba't mo kailangan gawin yun? Dahil ba close na kayo or what? Kahit pa close kayo, di ba? Hindi dapat ginagawa yan sa isang professional setup or kahit anong setup, hindi dapat yung ginagawa. Anyway, pag-uusapan din natin yan mamaya. So, yan yung mga hottest issues na nakuha natin so far this week.
Yes, and on to our trending topic for tonight. Ayan ay may kinalaman din sa balita kaninang umaga lang, no? This is a hashtag FreePride20. Kaugnay po ito ng pag-aresto na nangyari kaninang umaga around 10:30 a.m. sa 20 tao na sumali, or actually hindi nga sumali, na nandoon sa Pride is a Protest rally, no? This is in line with the LGBTQ and the Pride Month celebrations. So kaninang umaga nga po, the Manila Police District has arrested 20 individuals and they are still detained. At lalo na dahil nga mag-weekend, Jules, tama?
Yes.
They're still in custody of authorities and they were charged for illegal assembly and sabi dito, disobedience daw to authority.
Yes. So, ito nga yung contentious din ngayon kasi kung non-cooperation related to COVID-19, di ba nabanggit natin kanina na nag-lapse na into law itong Bayanihan to Heal as One Act 2 days ago. So, paano yan? Magagamit pa rin ba nilang basis yan as a charge dito sa mga nag-protest kanina? Well, maybe we could ask later our guest since lawyer din siya. Pero ito nga po yung pinaka-issue ngayon kasi tomorrow is a big for the LGBTQIA plus community kasi supposedly tomorrow na yung Pride March pero magiging online siya. And then day before ito yung nangyari, talagang mas nabibigyan ng reason na Pride is a protest talaga kasi 'di ba parang ano bang klaseng mensaheng gustong ipahiwatig sa atin ng state forces ngayon day before ganito yung gagawin nila. So talagang magagalit talaga yung community. And I want to show this picture, Aya, kasi may nakakakilabot actually na picture na I guess could sum up what happened earlier. And siguro na rin sa harassment na nakukuha ng LGBTQIA community. This one. This is a very powerful picture. Kita mo, Aya?
Yes.
Diba? So, yan yung pride flag tapos kinuha ng kapulisan natin kanina. So, yan po ang nangyari kanina, and of course nagkaroon din ng statement ang Metro Manila Pride. Ito yung isang organization na mga nag-organize ng ating online Pride March. Nasaan na ba yan? Ito. Okay. Ayan. So, basahin na natin yung naka-highlight. Ang Pride ay laging mananatiling protesta at pagpapatuloy sa pagsulong sa pagbabago para sa pantay na karapatan. Tuloy-tuloy ang mas maigting na panawagan ng komunidad para sa karapatang pantao at para sa pagbabago sa lipunan at kultura sa lehislatura. Dahil nga kanilang hashtag for this year, sulong wag patinag.
Right. Also, Jules, a statement released by Senator Rizon Tiveros, one of the really strong campaigner, no, for LGBT rights. Sabi niya dito, magtataka pa rin ba tayo kung bakit takot ang mga tao sa anti-terror law? Dahil ngayon sa nangyaring pag-aresto kaninang umaga at to follow na lang yung charges, no, para sa 20 na individuals na to. So, Jules, punta tayo sa ating main interview for tonight and maybe we can also get her insights. Tonight, we are joined by the Youth Against Sexual Harassment President Alex Castro to talk to us about sexual abuse, harassment, and how we're going to fight the stigma. Hi, Alex.
Hi, good
Hey,
evening.
Alex.
Hi,
How are
Jules.
you?
Ayan, I'm okay. It's nice to be with you again.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
si Alex, katandem ko yan dati sa college
am.
7 years ago. My God, 7 years ago. Sa UP.
Huwag kayo mag-alala, naabutan ko naman kayong dalawa ng college. So,
Yeah.
sama-sama.
Uh, Ate, kasama natin tonight.
Oh,
Hmm.
oy, grabe. Naabutan ko ang inyong mga kampanya. Okay. Alright. Jules, let's dive into the discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So, Alex, for the past weeks, 'di ba, lalong uminit na naman yung usapin nung nagkaroon ng statements on rape, 'di ba? It was between Kaki Pangilinan and journalist Tulfo.
Yes.
So, doon
Yes.
yung usapin. So, parang for some weird reason, nahati pa rin yung perspectives ng mamamayan ngayon kung sino nga ba ang may kasalanan talaga. So from your perspective as an advocate, Alex, ano nga ba dapat yung perspective ng ating mga kababayan kapag pinag-uusapan natin itong sexual abuse and harassment?
Well, first off, just to directly dive into yung issue of itong yung consent and yung kay Kaki and everything about it, just the entire discussion about parang consent ba kung magsuot ka ng ganito, consent ba if you do this. Well, from a legal perspective, I would just like to emphasize na when we talk about rape, pag chinek mo kasi elements of rape, it only talks about if parang yung main element of it is if the woman consented or not, or if the person consented or not. Yun na yun. Parang it doesn't talk about parang, kasama ba sa elements na gaano ba kaikli yung skirt niyan? Ano bang suot niyan at a certain point? Or ano bang ginawa niya? Anong sinabi niya? Intoxicated ba siya? Gaano ba karaming ininom niya? Sino bang kasama niya? Anong oras siya umalis? It doesn't speak of any of those elements. So legally, it just, yun talaga yung pinaka-important factor doon is consent. And of course, when it comes to culture naman, I think yung very important mindset also that we need to really just keep in mind lagi. Na yun nga, no is no. Silence does not mean yes. And of course, at the end of the day, parang importante talaga ang consent talaga. So, yun na yun. Parang yun na yung pinaka, it's that simple eh. So, yun na yung pinaka kailangan isipin talaga natin.
I understand, Alex, now, but let us confront one of the usual arguments that we see and we hear online. How, or siguro in legal perspective maybe, how do we prove? Kasi 'di ba may burden of proving kung sino talaga, kung totoo yung complaint or pag sinabing na-harass ka. Other people would say na wrongly accused naman sila. So how do we usually deal with those cases?
Well, first off, just to clarify, in criminal cases, there are a lot of ways to prove. Malami namang parang nire-receive na evidence. You have your testimony. Yun yung parang mag-interview ka ng witness, tapos magbigay sila ng account nila. You have your object evidence. Usually, ito yung mga, like for example, garments ng babae. Tinitingnan kung meron mga blood stains yan or other stains. Meron din tayong mga documentary evidence. Like for example, yung mga medical legal report. Stuff like that. There are many ways to prove it. And I think given that malaki yung leeway eh. I mean, what I mean by that, it's very hard to fabricate a charge. Given there's so many ways that you can prove if it's wrong or if it's true or not. There's so many ways, parang it's very hard to fabricate a charge. Kaya parang sinasabi nila na parang hindi, baka wrongly accused ganyan, or it's very dangerous to give women this power. Kasi parang kawawa naman kaming mga lalaki or we're in danger of being wrongly accused. Kahit yung statement of that alone eh. I mean, if you look at it, parang napaka-sharp ng contrast ng mga number of cases that are actually true as opposed to those who are just wrongly accused. So I don't think it's a valid argument in the first place.
Okay. Alex, itong past weeks na nga, maraming mga exposés and revelations tayong nabasa sa Twitter and sa iba't ibang social media platforms. And of course, we appreciate their courage to speak up. Pero what should be the way forward after that? Okay, they exposed already. What's next? What should be next?
Well, of course, we would encourage people to file criminal cases for either sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual violence. Pero we also recognize that, of course, you can't force anyone naman to file the case if they don't want to. I would also caution actually against yung call-out culture. I understand the need to bring itong mga issues forward, or at least na parang to come out with their story so we know what's happening. But I would also caution against it. Kasi of course, pag hindi siya, minsan kasi it gets out of hand, it spirals out of control. Tapos parang nagkakaroon na ng mga parang backlash or whatever, tapos nagkakaroon ng mga harassment about kakasuhan ng cyber libel or something like that. So I would caution against it. I mean, yes, we want women to come forward with their stories, but at the same time, parang we also want to encourage them na parang to actually follow through. Although we can't force them, ayun nga, na parang yung ideal situation here is that they follow through with a case, either administrative, civil, or criminal.
Mm-mm. It's great, no, Alex, that you brought it up. Kasi many people don't know what to do next. When it happens to them, it's not, aside from having the courage to speak up, it's not that easy to go through the entire process. But maybe you can walk us through what to do next. If it happens to you, what would be your first advisable step to take?
Okay. Well, personally, if it happens, yung pinaka-ina-advise ko talaga with any client is to seek psychosocial support first. It's a very traumatic experience when people experience sexual harassment, abuse, or violence. So, of course, parang it's very important na makapag-dispo check muna sila, or at least, alam mo yun, na ma-process nila kung ano man yung nangyari. So, the first step is always to seek psychosocial support, seek professional help for it, so they know how to dun sa more concrete na what to do about it. There are always 3 remedies. We have administrative, civil, or criminal. When we say administrative, ito yung mga, for example, if you're part of a school, you file a complaint with the school. If you're part of a company, you file a complaint with the management. Yung mga ganong klase. Or for example, if you're part of an organization, ganun din, you go through the process of filing a complaint, and then they penalize based on their bylaws or kung ano man. So yun yung mga administrative aspect of it. Now, for civil and criminal, usually they go together. For criminal, marami naman tayong laws. Like for example, at the top of my head, parang you have your anti-VAUSI law, Anti-Violence Against Women and Children law. You also have your Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. And of course, yung pinaka-latest natin is the Safe Spaces Act. So pag ang mga ganito, they have the option of filing a criminal complaint against the perpetrator. Tapos, ayan, pupunta na siya sa trial.
Okay. Alex, beyond the legalities naman, di ba ang sinasabi nila within a relationship or basta within a couple, usually there is a power struggle o may power relations na nangyari, specifically in the context of sexual harassment or sexual abuse. In your experience sa mga clients mo or in the narratives sa mga nababasa mo, ano usually yung mga naghihinder doon sa victim para maitigil niya itong harassment na nangyayari sa kanya?
You mean what hinders them from reporting or complaining?
Yeah. Yes.
Maraming factors pinakauna yung takot. Takot sila na parang baka pag nag-complain sila, baka saktan sila, or kung ano mangyari, baka gantihan sila, or habulin sila, yung mga ganon. Yung second is that, based on experience, actually based on data also, most of yung mga cases for sexual harassment, abuse, and violence, yung perpetrators is someone close to you. Either a relative or a close friend, yung mga ganito, an org mate, a workmate, so kilala mo. And usually, parang meron tayong tinatawag na parang yung phenomenon of forced modesty, na natatakot yung mga complainants to complain kasi syempre parang sobrang close ng proximity or parang may personal relationship ka So you don't wanna make it awkward, you don't wanna sour the relationship. So laging yung babae yung nag-a-adjust. And of course, yung pangatlo, what we found also in Yash, what hinders them from complaining is that they don't know where to go. They don't know what their options are. They don't know what they can do about it. So naisip nila na parang, or minsan, hindi nila alam na na-violate na pala yung karapatan nila. So parang hindi nila ma-process ng ganun. So parang sila, merong doubt na, okay, may nangyari ba talagang mali sa akin? Or kung may mali nga na nangyari, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do about this, where to complain, and so on. So ito yung sobrang daming factors, but these are just some of yung most prevalent that we encounter.
So Alex, acknowledging that difficulty on the part of the person, it happens to someone we know, and we are sure that it happened because the person opened up to you. How do we deal with it? How do we offer that support and maybe help them come forward if we have to?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm glad you brought that up. Yung pinakauna, of course, is to be able to provide a safe space for them to open up. Na parang to make sure na, I mentioned earlier na yung first step talaga is to urge them or at least to encourage them to seek psychosocial support because pwedeng hindi tayo competent enough to help them deal with the trauma. So pero syempre, ano tayo mga frontliners yung mga friends and relatives when it comes to that kasi sa atin pinaka-una nag-open up sa atin una nagsasabi. So of course, we need to know how to deal with that. So pagdating sa ganon, we need to provide them with a safe space to open up. And then we need to urge them to seek psychosocial support and then maybe seek legal advice after that.
Okay. Now, Alex, in the context of the pandemic of COVID-19, of course, more than 100 days na tayong naka-lockdown. And yung isa, for example, in Quezon City, one of the reasons kung bakit nagkaroon ng liquor ban, ang explanation ni Mayor Joy Belmonte ay para daw maiwasan yung sexual abuse within houses kasi baka daw mag-trigger yung alcohol. So, from the end of Yash, meron ba kayong nakuhang mga narratives or reports na about sexual abuse or harassment during the quarantine?
Marami, Jules. Actually, yung mga pinakamaraming cases or reports na nakuha namin ever since the lockdown started in relation to domestic violence, that's one. And then there's rape also. So, yun yung difficulty kasi syempre parang since hindi tayo pwede lumabas, number one yung VAUSI na yan. Itong violence against women, domestic violence. Since nakukulong yung mga tao, usually with the perpetrators, ito yung mga, sabihin natin, mga people na ka-live-in nila or pwedeng spouse and so on. So parang syempre walang takas yan So ang dami namin nakuhang mga cases na ganun, mga complaints na talagang of domestic violence. Number two, pinaka-prevalent na mga reports na nakuha namin is rape. Most of them, very alarming, Jules. Most of them are incestuous rape. So, syempre, ganun din in the context of COVID since nakakulong ka with your family and everything, nakakulong ka with the perpetrator, marami, tumataas talaga yung possibility of these things.
Now, Alex, once that people come forward, we know how confident this is, people are speaking out. How do we now fight against the stigma that usually comes with it?
Well, first off, actually very prevalent pa rin yan yung ganung klaseng mindset when it comes to women na parang sila pa yung nahihiya or sila pa yung parang feel nila kasalanan nila. Very effective way, number one, to be able to deal with that, yung I mentioned earlier, if you know someone na kung kanino nangyari to, or for example, na parang na-experience niya or something, you need to be able to provide a safe space and you need to be able to convince them that it's not their fault because it really isn't. You need to be able to convince them na parang at least yung, alam mo yun, masabi mo sa kanila na parang hindi mo kasalanan to, it doesn't make you, hindi naman to na parang as if nakakahiya or walang judgment dito or something. Kaya ako sinasabi na parang yun yung pinaka-important talaga na since frontliners tayo pagdating dito is to provide that safe space to make them feel that way. That's one very effective way to fight that or at least to end yung ganung klaseng mindset. And of course, yung mga ganitong klase, yung mga like what we're doing now, we're discussing it, yung mga information dissemination about it, we need to be able to put the discussion out there na parang really call it for what it is. We need to be able to paint a clear picture of what sexual harassment is, kung sino yung may kasalanan nun, at kung ano ba talaga yung anong pwedeng gawin about it and so on. It helps na parang if you know what it is, na parang doon mo na-realize na wala kang doubt sa sarili mo na parang ano nangyari sa akin, kasalanan ko ba to? Nakakahiya ba to, i-judge ako? So yan. So yung mga ganitong klaseng discussions, it helps also.
Alex, from the government's end, sapat ba
Yes.
itong mga laws natin na ini-implement? Sapat ba yung mga programs ng implementers natin para tumugon dito sa issue na to?
What a question. I would say, actually, I can see naman they're trying their best. It's just that medyo, kaya for example, marami tayong mga organizations like Yash na nabubuo kasi nakikita natin yung mga minsan pagkukulang ng mga government agencies when it comes to addressing issues like these. Like for example, we've experienced working with the NBI, we've experienced working with the PNP. May times na kasi minsan na-flood din sila ng mga kaso. So we understand na medyo bumabagal yung processing of it. So that's why, yan, dumadami mga ganitong klase organizations like Youth Against Sexual Harassment na para at least kung meron man pagkukulang yung mga government agencies na to, pwede nating saluhin. But yes, there's a lot of improvement that can be done pagdating doon.
Mm-hmm. Alex, tell us more about your organization. What kind of support do you offer, and maybe where can people find you?
Okay. Youth Against Sexual Harassment was formed actually officially in 2017. We started in the UP College of Law. It started as a drafting organization actually. Kasi at that time, parang marami kami nakuhang mga complaints mainly from friends and relatives na parang wala daw mga guidelines or rules on sexual harassment or rather how to handle cases or complaints on sexual harassment sa schools nila or sa companies. So we thought of like parang since yun nga, nag-aaral naman kami ng law, we're familiar with it, naisip namin, bumuo kaya tayo ng organization na makakapag-provide ng ganong klaseng support sa mga schools and companies or different organizations para at least na mabigyan sila ng ganong klaseng support. But then it changed. In 2018, we officially launched YASH, and from a drafting organization supposedly, nag-offer siya ng mas marami pang mga programs. We have a legal arm. YASH partners with a lot of lawyers and a lot of law firms. So minsan pag nakakuha kami ng mga complaints, we refer them to these lawyers and law firms para at least matugunan yung mga ganong klaseng mga complaints for sexual harassment, abuse, and violence. We also have our educational arm. So minsan we conduct seminars or actually may marami kami mga naging training last year in 2018. We provided, for example, seminars on the history of the women's movement, history of sexual harassment, yung mga legal aspect of it. And of course, we also offered a very special course, yung self-defense for women. So yung mga ganong klase. But also, we retained our drafting arm. So pag may mga lumalapit sa aming companies or schools that need help in drafting rules and regulations on how to handle or how to proceed with yung mga complaints for sexual harassment, abuse, and violence, we also offer that service.
Okay. Alex, speaking of training people, I guess yung pinaka may kailangan ng training ngayon, itong mga netizens natin na parang feeling nila kasalanan pa ng victim kapag sila na sexually abused or harassed. So, ikaw, what's your perspective on this, Alex? I assume you're really frustrated about this, especially now. The other day or a few days ago, GMA Network, parang nagpa-online poll sila kung nakaka-apekto nga ba talaga yung damit ng babae para sila ay mas sexually abused. And ako, hindi naman surprising sa akin na yung oo raw ang naging ang pinakamaraming ang sumagot. So ikaw, anong perspective mo dito, and how can Yash siguro provide siguro awareness programs para dito sa mga netizens na to?
First off, Jules, yung ganung mindset I think is part of a culture what we're up against is yung rape culture. Very prevalent yan. Kaya may mga ganyang thinking, hindi very ingrained. Mahirap talaga labanan yan kasi matagal na yung ganyan eh. It's very systemic, yung ganong klaseng misogynist na thinking. So of course, how do you counter that? You counter it by educating people also. I mentioned earlier, kaya important yung mga ganitong platform that we actually discuss these things. You put a topic out there kasi we need to tackle it. We need to discuss, we need to correct yung mga misconceptions. That's why I mentioned earlier that YASH, actually yung isa sa mga pinaka-important arms ng YASH, aside from the legal arm of YASH, is yung educational arm of YASH. So, kaya meron kami mga ganong klaseng programs. Like, ito recently, yung pinaka-last namin, we held a webinar regarding domestic violence. So, pwede mga ganun also that we need to tackle also yung issue of rape culture like we're doing now. So, yung mga ganung klase. But really, it's a culture we're up against. And the only way that we can destroy or put down that culture to really eliminate it is by educating people.
Right. Alex, before we wrap up, can you please can you give us the contact information or the website where people can find you and other offices that they can approach?
Yeah. For YASH, we're active on Facebook. So they can find us there, Youth Against Sexual Harassment or YASH, YASH.org.ph actually. And then, of course, if they need to complain, marami silang pwedeng malapitan, pwedeng barangay, pwede silang lumapit sa Women's and Children's Protection Desk ng PNP. They can go to NBI, they can go to DSWD. So itong mga ganitong klaseng mga what do you call this, government agencies, pwede na lang lapitan. And recently, we partnered with Luna's Collective. They provide psychosocial support for victim survivors during the lockdown. So pwede rin silang lumapit dun, especially since I've been emphasizing since kanina pa that the first step really is to provide psychosocial support for victim survivors. So ito mga to, pwede nilang lapitan anytime they want to either forward a complaint or discuss a case or so on.
Okay, Alex, a final word from you. Kanina in the news, in the trending pala, we talked about at least 20 people are detained right now in Manila for staging a protest. What's your take on this as a lawyer?
It's it's ridiculous, Jules, really. Ayun nga, tama yung sabi kanina. Si Aya mentioned what Senator Risa said about the incident, that this is precisely why the anti-terror bill is really scary. Kasi nakikita natin yung ganitong klaseng arbitrariness. Actually, nung nabalitaan ko to kanina, we've been discussing this case kasi kinakamusta ko yung mga na-detain. And we were discussing it. And they were asking me na parang talagang sa mga ganitong instances ba, na parang pag nahuhuli sila sa mga rally or for example, mga ganitong klaseng mga gatherings, nagpe-press ba talaga ng charges? I told them based on experience that actually hindi. It's a method just to disperse the people dun sa rally or dun sa gathering. Tapos takutan lang yan eh. Yan yung i-detain for a couple of hours, a couple of days, pero hindi naman tumutuloy yung mga charges. So nakita natin kung sa ganito pa lang, paano pa pagka you give them even more ammunition tulad ng anti-terror bill para gamitin arbitrarily against these people. So we see na itong kanina yung nangyari is a valid exercise of their freedom or right to free speech. Pero nakikita natin na parang talagang naka-curtail to ng state arbitrarily through itong mga ganitong klaseng ammunition. So again, I agree with Senator Risa that itong anti-terror bill really is a very scary, is a very arbitrary piece of legislation and it should not be passed.
Thank you, Alex, for sharing your time and your insights with us, and more power on youth against sexual harassment. And again, thank you so much. Important discussion talaga itong usapin na to. Let us know how we can help other campaigns of YASH.
Thanks,
Yes.
Alex.
Thank you for having me.
See you soon.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye. Okay, yan. Thank you so much, Attorney Alex Castro. She's the president of Youth Against Sexual Harassment, or YASH. Yan, nakikita nyo, you could visit their page right now, like their page right now, at kung meron kayong mga gustong collaboration siguro, or kung meron kayong mga gustong i-report na iba't ibang mga narratives, ibigay nyo lang dyan sa page na yan. Ibalikan ko lang, Eya, yung sa incident kanina sa Manila. Kasi, di ba, for the past year ata, Mayor Isko Moreno, di ba, parang he's been very vocal in supporting the LGBTQIA plus community. Actually, nagpa-paint pa nga siya ng pedestrian lane na gamit yung colors ng LGBT flag. So, I think the challenge is on him right now. The burden is on him. Yun din nakikita ko sa Twitter ngayon na kung kaya, he has the power kasi the LGUs meron silang saklaw na power sa mga city police. So tingnan natin kung anong gagawin niya dito. Dito mapapatunayan kung gaano sa ka-genuine sa advocacy niya. Let's see.
Pero yes, that's true, no? MPD kasi yung humawak ng case na to. It's frustrating. Nakikita rin natin yung yung interweaved narratives from the COVID-19 pandemic to the anti-terror bill. You see now this arrests happening. Tapos this month, it's Pride Month also. Maraming interconnected na bagay-bagay at dito natin din makikita talaga yung the rule of law and good governance in our country. And let's see how we'll hold up in the next couple of months or even years. Jules?
Right.
Marami pa akong frustrations for trying to find the right words for everything for what I'm going to say.
It's really ironic kasi yun nga, 'di ba? Nabanggit mo nga this month is Pride Month. Tapos you see this kind of picture. This is a very powerful picture, 'di ba? Na you have the state forces kinuha mismo yung flag ng LGBT, and I think it's very symbolic of how the community is just tolerated but not accepted in society. So yeah, nakakalungkot. So I guess talagang there's more reason for this community to show that Pride is really a protest and not just any fancy thing that they're doing. It's a protest.
I-acknowledge lang din natin, na sinasabi nila that the arrests were made because of social distancing protocols, but also marami rin nag-raise na even the actual conduct of the arrest ay nakapag-violate na ng social distancing, and also those who were rallying said that they were really observing social distancing protocols in the first place. We acknowledge that. We acknowledge that argument, but we also call on our institutions to uphold proper steps on how to deal with these things, and also i-acknowledge din natin yung karapatan ng bawat grupo and even individuals themselves. We have human rights, and siguro ang pinaka nakaka-frustrate dito that they will remain in detention over the weekend because of this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as we move forward in the last segment of our show, we talk about the contributions of organizations. Anong ambag mo? So for this, we have Project 50/50, and this is under the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Aya?
Right. Project 50/50 is a campaign for gender equality. So it's a year-long campaign. Actually, it started in 2017. This is headed by SDG 5 Ambassador of the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, Mike Orgonza. Please to go to the Facebook page, Project 50/50. You will find there several campaigns on how you can support the community, how you can fight discrimination, and how we can better uphold human rights and gender equality. Also, in relation to that, matatapos na yung buwan ng Pride. We're celebrating Pride Month, pero hindi po dito nagtatapos yung campaign for gender equality. And patuloy pa rin natin nakikita yung struggles ng LGBTQ community. Also, aside from that, Jules, let's just remind our viewers to try to register for the Climate Action Forum naman. That's gonna happen over the weekend, June 27 and 28. You can just register to bit.ly/Climate Action Forum. And yeah, so there are 4 sessions running from June 27 to June 28, starting at 2 p.m. So, yan, kasama dyan yung mga youth action in times of crisis. Pag-uusapan din dyan yung mga other aspects gaya ng mental health, well-being, healthcare, and we'll see also about gender equality and other human rights affected by the COVID-19.
Okay, ayan. So, tapos na naman ang isang linggo na pag-uusap natin about iba't ibang mga issues. We talk about attracting positivity. We talked about this one, sexual harassment, and many other things. Pero of course, voting din. By next week, ito pa yung mga pag-uusapan natin. Okay, we have financial planning. Kamusta na ba yung lagay ng kaperahan natin? Next, we have another guest who works with the Office of the Vice President. Tingnan natin kung ano yung mga ginagawa nila. And for our partner Fridays, we have YCLI, or the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. Okay.
All right. Well, that's it. Kita-kita ulit tayo, guys, dito sa daldalang walang curfew.
Usapang di nalalockdown. This is QuaranTalk. Live po tayo sa Facebook on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 p.m.
Yes, and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/QuaranTalk online.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jules Guiang.
Yes, and I'm on Twitter at @a_Antonio and on Instagram at @Antonio. And guys, abangan nyo kasi sa mga susunod na linggo, baka talk ang makita nyo. Ilang QuaranTalk ang makikita nyo on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. We are cooking some new stuff for you guys.
Yeah, we will be producing several new shows aside from this one. Thank you so much. Happy weekend, guys. See you on Monday.